So we're back. This is the 10th episode of Produce 101, Japan Season 3, The Girls. So this is mostly an elimination episode with some outing sports day filler. And so basically you get to see the girls go out and what they do is they get to see some sights in Korea, get makeovers, eat cake, have some pork belly, some street food, and then go to a river and have some ramyeon. I always feel bad whenever I watch kind of like Korean or Japanese survival shows because whenever they talk about, well, not just the shows, actually the idols as well, because they always talk about like getting to eat pork belly or meat or stuff like that, and it seems like a really rare thing for them. And I don't understand that because I actually eat pork belly. I'll order it at least twice a week, and it'll like give me like at least 8 meals. So I'm just wondering like how the food situation is there. I kind of worry about them. But moving on, the trainees get to meet some mystery guests. It's Yina and Yuri from Eyes One, and so I've always been. I thought it was interesting how starstruck they were, and I'm always surprised about it too, because like I'll see like idols from like American Idol or X Factor, and it won't bug me, or I won't get like worked up over it. But like I can be like walking down the street with a friend, and that friend doesn't even watch the shows, but I'll say like, "Hey, that's that person from that show," and they'll get all excited and run over, or like kind of sneak around and look around, look at them and stuff, and they'll get all starstruck over it, even though they don't even know anything about them. And so I'm always kind of like surprised about it, but I kind of understand it more from these guys' standpoint because uh, generationally they look up to people who are doing what they want to do. But then still, like they like the way they tremble and um, the way they approach these idols. I always thought that was interesting. Later on, there's a segment where the girls get to meet the national producers after the elimination stuff, and they're kind of tricked into doing some kind of segment here, and we think they're just recording a message, but then they actually get to meet not all their fans, but like I think there's a fan for each of them at least, and then they get to speak to them as well, and they get really emotional about it. So when it comes to the actual like survivals and eliminations, uh, what was interesting was Haruka was the first person announced, and she just looked so surprised, and I thought that was funny. But she got 19th place, and then regarding the rest of them, I'm not gonna say too much, but I found it interesting that the top 11 was kind of a mix between those girls with like the high votes and people you would expect to have high votes, like what was her name, Momona and Miyu. Like you'd expect those girls to have high vote powers, and then you also expect there to be the skill specialists there, like Ayane and what's her name, Suzumi. People who are like showing off their skill, like Ran. Those are the kind of people you expect to be there. But then, like, what's also interesting is that there's the show promoted trainees, which is people who get narratives on the show, and I find it interesting how strong the voting power is for them. So it just shows how much control the show actually has over who can get a leg up in a competition just based on being highlighted either for drama or for uh, some kind of narrative, I suppose. Uh, but basically, you get to see the top 11, and then this final hour is basically a new challenge where they get to sing two more original songs. One's called Choppy Choppy, and one's called Sazoi Joe or something like that. And I thought the songs were not that bad, but how the trainees got to interact with that was that they got to choose which position they could be in on the song, but then they also could bump each other. And it starts with like the lowest ranked person up to the highest ranked person. But this aside, what was more interesting was Kimura Kayla actually wrote a song for the trainees, which was a ballad. And so I'll skip this part with the trainers getting emotional. But Kayla actually wrote them a really nice ballad, and I feel like that's the best song I've heard like all season. She did it herself. I was really impressed with her song, and it felt like it sounded really good when she sang it as well. And it was playing in the background. But then after that, she had Dumb sing it, and she said it really came together. And I'll trust her as the ballad writer to say that. I guess if there's gonna be a studio version, then I'll reserve judgment. And then she also had them kind of talk about their strengths in their circle, and that was pretty much it. And then there was just send offs for the eliminated trainees at the end. And so I've tried to be brief in this episode and not talk too long because there really wasn't much. A lot of it was filler. Some of it was entertaining. And so I'm not saying that you shouldn't watch it or anything. I'm just saying I really only comment on the competition aspect of the show. But it was fun to watch them go out and enjoy themselves. It was fun to see them talk to the other idols, and also I would say that I was really touched by some of the stuff the trainer said earlier. Even Yumeki got emotional during this episode, and so I thought that was interesting. So this might be the first time I actually do a proper thoughts review where I just talk about my thoughts and don't recap the whole show. Although I guess I did kind of recap the show as well. But anyways, I guess that's it. I don't want this to get too long. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. Let us know why in the comment box down below. Also, if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next episode.